Always be filming.
Oh, that is so going to be the intro.
No,
Yeah,
was any
fine.
bourbon spilled in this accident?
Another episode of Power Bourbon. And tonight we get to try a bottle I have been super excited about. In fact, as soon as it dropped in Louisville, I ran out and bought it. I'm almost out of it. Uh, and I'm going to have to buy
Oh,
another one, but I haven't been able to find it. And I'm frustrated. But that bottle is Bardstown Origin bottled and bond weeded mash bill. So, as with everything Bardstown does, which we love, full transparency on the side. So, Origin, of course, Bardstown. This is their distillate. They've been waiting for 6 years to finally release this. They've released the black label and the white label, which we'll talk about along the way. It is 6 years, 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley, distilled in the fall of 2016. So I've been excited about this. Chuck and I enjoyed doing the Thieve Your Own tour at Bardstown. And part of that tour is we got to thieve, supposedly one of these barrels that they were still aging, because we did a rye, we did a wheat, and we did a true rye uh, from the barrel. And it was good at 2.5 years, I think is what we pulled out.
yep. It was
Um,
young.
yeah, but it had the potential. And so now we get to do this, and I'm super excited. So here we go.
I mean, right off the nose, I'm getting like a citrus character. I get this, it's like a lemon, a little bit of like a lemon meringue.
Yeah. It definitely reminds me a little bit of just standard Maker's Mark, to be completely honest. Because we're talking low proof. This comes in at 100 proof, obviously, because it's bottled in bond. Uh, and I mean, it's right there with a Maker's product.
Do you get that
And
much cherry?
no, I actually get more, I want to say like blackberry, to be honest. But
And
there is a
couple that with the
berry
lemon
note.
that I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's a nice combo.
Yeah. Yep. It's there's very little grain. There's a little hint of kind of the wheat notes you would get, but it is super sweet and floral. Probably one of the most floral weeded bottled and bonds I've ever had.
Let's say
Not that I've
normally,
had.
those floral characters tend to be from high rye bourbon mash
Yeah.
bills, not from weeded. To me, I get a little bit of like that citrus for me carries through the palate and the sweetness. It's like a cane sugar sweetness or raw sweetness,
Yeah.
and then yeah, like a floral. It's like a floral grain. I don't when I say grain, it's not that youngness, malty. It's not that. It's a just a light like a maybe almost like a raw cane sugar, like the actual the stalk of the cane.
Yeah. I was going to say it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of like a rum finished bourbon with how much cane sugar is on that, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Uh, and
that's a
then
good description.
Yeah, and then a very light finish, which I mean you would kind of expect from 100 proof bottled and bond, but some nice spice notes on the back end, and then it just mellows out and makes you want to drink some more. There is a little bit of drying to the oak too, which is really nice.
Yeah, and the finish to me is more of what you described as that floral character, like a light, maybe a lavender.
Hmm.
Um, that's mostly what I get as it goes through the or through the finish.
Yeah. So
And what price point? So we're talking 45.
$45.
So this is
It
essentially kind of replaces their Fusion series, which had been in that
Yes.
price point which was a fusion of their
Yeah.
own distillate and sourced whiskey. So this is at least product to product on the shelf, swapping that out for 100% their distillate.
Yeah, because they're actually going to end the Fusion series. There's one more release coming probably this summer. I think that is what they kind of hinted at, which would be Fusion number 9. But then I think that's it. And they're just going to focus on all their stuff. Like I said, right now, the 2 that are out is this Bottled and Bond, which is the black label and it's wheated. The other one they have is a 96 proof. It is a white label. All right, so the other one, which you can see is really almost gone, because I don't know when we're going to release this, but they will be sent. And I'm not going to tell them which one. Our Patreon members are going to get a sample of the both Origin series this quarter. But this is the 96 proof rye, high rye. So it's 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. Also comes in at 6 years. So these are the 2 that are out now. They do have a third one coming, which is their full rye. But they were going to give it a little bit more time in the barrel to get to their standard. So these are the new Origin series from Bardstown. So what do you say, Chuck? You going to have one?
My price point is generally a little bit higher. I'm thinking of other things, and I was especially particularly related to the wheated mash bill. So for sure, better than Rebel Yell 100.
Yeah.
Now price point's a little bit different on the Rebel Yell.
Yeah.
I'm, if you're used to makers and you like that cherry note, I think this is going to be lacking there. But I don't, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not a perfect replacement from that sense. But as far as a wheated mash bill in a budget bourbon, this gives you a lot from start to finish. The nose is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Which for 100 proof 6-year whiskey, that's solid. Mm-hmm. Finish is nice, not as lasting, of course. It lacks that rye spice because of that wheated mash bill, but still flavorful. And it's particularly at that 100 proof, quite nice. And I think the palate has a lot to explore. So for me, at $45, this is a solid buy.
Yeah, definitely. Because the one I want to compare it to, unfortunately, he's not here tonight. But just to poke fun, this is way better than what 80 Laws came out with for the same age and a lot more money. I would even say this would be fun to put up against some of the Wilderness Trail, which is about double the price. And I mean, I think that this could have been a $50 to $60 bourbon and I would have been happy with it there. But at the fact that they're putting it at 45, they want everybody to have this on their bar as like the go-to drink that you start your night out with. And I think they hit it out of the park, and maybe next year it'll be a 7-year bottled and bond, and that would be amazing.
That's what I was going to ask, if they've announced any plans as the series continues to increase the age, or maybe that'll just be a separate release like what Wilderness Trail did. They still have their basic, but then they're also offering, this year they just came out with their 8-year, which is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
This hangs really, I mean, Bardstown's a big distillery, so maybe we don't call them craft. No. And so comparing to 80 Laws is a bit unfair. Maybe comparing to Driftless Glens, a little unfair.
No, but I think the fair comparison is Wilderness Trail. Those are two of the big new boys. And then also New Riff. I think those 3 in a blind would be a fun one.
Yeah, agreed. I just from memory, it's been a while since I've reached for the Wilderness Trail weeded. But just going off of memory, I'd tip my hat to the Bardstown.
Yeah.
Maybe recency bias, but.
Yeah, and I think the plan is to keep it at 6 because they are starting their single barrel program. And having talked to them, one of the cool things they're doing with the single barrel is they're going to let you see the difference between barrels that are aged in the glass section of the rickhouse versus those that are aged deeper in the rickhouse. And they've already been hinting at it on their Instagram page that there is a vast difference between those 2 aging barrels, which you would expect. One's getting direct sunlight and all that, and the temperature differential is very different. So overall, I'm excited and glad that I ran out and got these as soon as they dropped. Coming up here, we're going to be heading back to Bardstown to have some fun and see the distillery again. And I can tell you, I'm going to go buy a bottle of each again. And hopefully the rye is out too. So I love them.
Yeah,
They're great.
this is quite good. I'm even picking up some anise fennel as you get to the back of the palate, which again, a sign of a good whiskey as you sit here and continue to drink that it those layers of flavor kind of reveal themselves. So that makes
Yeah.
it fun and enjoyable to sit here and sip.
Yeah. I I think we're gonna have to revisit these in some blinds,
For sure.
because I think we might have our new budget bourbon. I know for a fact there's no reason to go buy a Blanton's anymore with these bad boys on the option. Like you're keeping the Blanton's now for your friends that don't know anything about bourbon, and then you're gonna have these for yourself. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've personally on the channel, we've moved beyond that for a while now.
yeah,
Particularly at the price. Like there's just that's not even in the same discussion. But I do think it's time to redo our list of whether we want to say under 50 or with inflation if we need to go to under 60.
yeah.
But this might very well have a spot in that top list.
Yep, that sounds like a great summer thing to do. And we'll hit you guys up in the community, ask your opinion on bottles that we should get under those price points. And, Chuck and I will sacrifice and we will drink a lot of bourbon and find out which is the best.
That's
So
right.
you guys don't have to. So with that, thanks for watching. Let us know if you've seen the Bardstown on the shelf. Like we said, they should be $45 to $50. I have seen stores around here already with them up to $180. Do not do that. They are going to be around all the time. So give it a chance, wait. But when you see it for the 45, from me, it is a definite buy. So,
Yeah, I'd have a hard time above that price point, but
yep.
45 solid buy.
Mm-hmm. All right. See you next time.
Stay neat.